So I've got a bit of work to do today. I've got this CB400 to work on. So the plan is I've got brake pads, brake lines, chain kit, bit of a service on the engine, and then see if there's any issues with the running, because apparently it's down on power. Hopefully it's not the engine. So yeah, it's not a bad one actually, it's quite good, quite in good order. $30,000 miles. Yeah, it's in pretty good order actually. Just a little bit grubby, but pretty original other than the exhaust. I've got fork seals to do these as well, but they don't look that bad really. There's barely any oil leaks, which is a good sign. So I've got the front brakes started, got the caliper carriers off. Pads look pretty original, but obviously they can't be the original ones. Brake discs appear to have been sanded or something, so they've got a bit of a weird surface finish. Calipers are in good order, so I'm going to get the rest of the front wheel off. Okay, so I've got the wheel off, mudguard off, brakes are already off. First problem, can't get the fork tops off. So on these, the fork tops actually clamp to the top yoke. So I need to take that off first before I get the fork leg out. So I'm going to try and get a socket on it. I might have to take the handlebar off in order to do this. Yeah, these are really tight actually. So I've took the tank off, handlebars are out the way. I'm going to give it a crack with the breaker bar, see if I can get them off. Right, so I've got the carbs off, took this intake manifold off. Air filter's pretty clean, although that's not the air filter. Yeah, I don't really know the best way to take these out, but I think you can move the airbox a little bit, but it seems to slot in anyway. Yeah, so the carbs look actually in good order, pretty clean. So I'll just give it everything a little once over, check for any blockages. So they normally have these rubber caps on, so there's a jet in there as well, and sometimes they have, I think this is probably the pilot circuit, so this one would be the smallest jet, and then this one. So we've got a 110, a 78, and then the one in the bottom, I don't think I can read it. Come on. Really stuck that one. Yeah, I'd have to get that one out, but that one's normally the pilot circuit, and these ones are for the other, so the main jet, and then the mid valve, mid jet. So I think these are alright really, so I've just got to check the settings and make sure that the passageways are clear. Right, so the carbs have passed, they're absolutely fine. However, I've just had a look at the spark plugs and they're very oily. So I've just took the camera down, the bore scope camera, have a look at the cylinders and the valves. Pretty oily in there, but it has stood for a couple of weeks while the customer's been on holiday, so there's a chance that it's just oil that's leaked down and hasn't burned off yet, because we haven't had it running yet. So I'm going to put it down to just a little bit of oil leak from the top, and it'll probably be okay to run normally. But interesting though that the carbs are very clean, and they look up like, you know, they don't look like there's anything wrong with them. So the only anomaly is these intake rubbers that were slightly off. So that's the only thing. I can't really see any other reason why it wouldn't run very well, but these weren't fitted right. So I've made a start on the chain. I've finished the fork seals, so they've been replaced. I didn't notice this when I first got here, so there's actually some bad pitting on the fork leg there. So yeah, we didn't notice that when it was sat on the ground. So we're probably going to continue to leak until the stanchions are replaced. I managed to get these back on a little bit. I've sort of sacrificed the front here, so I'm hoping this, basically I haven't put it all the way in that way. Right, so I'm pretty much finished. I've got the brake lines fitted, got the tank back on, the carbs are ready to go. What else have I done? So I've done a chain kit as well. Just giving it a little wash because of the brake fluid. So I've got a new chain, new sprockets. Quite often when I get chain kits for these old bikes, there's always something not quite right with them. So the sprocket that came off was a 41 and the standard size is a 36. The front sprocket was a 15 and the standard one's a 16. So there's going to be a bit of a difference between the gearing anyway. So I'm going to go for a first start and see how we go. So get into position, see if it'll start. We did actually get it started earlier off camera. Need to tighten up that choke. Right. maybe a bit less choke then. So I've just been for a quick test ride. Not very impressed, to be honest. Feels a little bit underpowered, I suppose. That's one way of putting it, but it's a gravel road, so it's a bit tricky to gauge how an engine runs. I think the tyres are flat as well. So I've only done about a mile, so I'm just going to have a quick look at the plugs and see what they look like. These are new ones, so let's see what they look like. For pottering about, I think it'll be alright. Oh, crud. That wasn't ideal. So the tip of the plug, it's getting a little bit of colour to it. I think it needs to be run a little bit longer, so I'm going to take it for a couple more rides up the hill, check the oil level, and I'll do about 2 or 3 more runs around this farm and then see what it looks like at the end. I'll go and check the oil. So this wasn't on the jobs list. The oil on the dipstick, it's not there. There isn't any oil in it. So I'm just going to drain it. I think I've decided I'm going to drain the oil rather than just check how much it takes to fill it up. And then we'll know how much was in there. Obviously it was enough that's coming out, but I think I'd feel better if it has fresh oil in it. I would guess that's about 2 or 3 litres. I think these take quite a bit of oil. I'll have to check. Right, so there was actually 1 litre of oil in that bike, and it does sound a little bit better. I've put 2.5 litres in, and that's took it up to full. So I'll let that circulate a little bit, and then I'll ride it for a little bit longer, do another plug check, and I'll let you know how that goes. Right, so I've done a couple of laps of the farm. Yeah, it's not running particularly well, but like I say, it's a gravel road, and I can only sort of go up to 2nd or 3rd gear here, and it does feel pretty much what a 250 would feel like, I think. A 400, I don't think I've ridden one actually, so that's what the plug looks like. Yeah, for me, so there's the plug. It's looking a little bit on the lean side, but it's not oily, so yeah. So the previous owner, I think this is the information I was given, previous owner's richened it up, so we've, yeah, it's got bigger jets in, only a little bit bigger, but I would prefer it to be a bit richer than that. So I might just try putting the mixture screw up another complete turn and then see what it sounds like. It might help. I'm going to check for vacuum leaks as well while I'm here, so I'll just do that and then we'll update in a moment. Right, so I've done another lap. I adjusted them both one turn out, but the bike stalled, so I thought I'll just try on half a turn out, and straight away as I was pulling away it just felt so much better. And yeah, it revs a little bit cleaner now, so I might try another half a turn on the mixture screw. So that is still a little bit white, but there's a little bit of soot appearing on the edge here, so I think it's the right direction to go. So I'm going to richen it up a little bit more and then just compensate with the idle screw, take it for another ride. If it's worse I'll go back, if it's better I think I'll just leave it there. I don't want to richen it up too much because they'll be using lots more fuel, but the bike will run cooler. Yeah, so I'll show you on camera. So it's actually quite hard to start, even half a turn out, so I'm going to have to adjust it before I start. It's hot. So try half a turn on this one. Just half a turn. And then we might get away with half a turn on this one. Just going to bump the idle up a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Right. Take it for another run. So on this one it didn't feel quite as good. It had a bit of a lumpiness to the mid-range, so I think I'm going to probably end up going back half a turn on it. I just want to see what the plug looks like. It also cut out as I was coming to a stop, so yeah, I think it's not quite changed that much really. It's like a pale grey, so not ideal, but obviously I can only ride it about a mile. The main road is like a 10-minute ride away, so I'm going to put them back in half a turn, which will bring it up to a 2.5 turn setting, and on the 400s the standard setting is 2 turns out. We've got slightly larger jets on it already, but I'm not sure really. I think it could maybe do with a little bit more, but it needs a 20-minute ride really to get a good reading just by looking at the spark plug. But just by feel I think it runs pretty well. So what I'll do is I'll pull this one out just to check. So we'll have a look at this side just to compare. Hopefully it's the same as the other side. Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, I think it's running, you know, it's a little bit on the hot side. So yeah, if I had a little bit more time, I would probably go into the needle, and maybe if there's an adjustment there, I would probably adjust that up so that you get a little bit more fuel when the needle lifts. But yeah, that's it for the day. I mean, we've got the brake lines on. It's had new fork seals, although it's probably not going to last too much longer. A new chain kit. That doesn't seem to have hampered it, going back to a standard setting, so I think it is a little bit on the tall side, the gearing, but it won't be too bad on the road. And then obviously I've given it a service because the oil level was so low. And then it's got new brake pads. The brake pads feel good, so they'll take a little time to bed in, but it's a gravel road here, so I'm not going to bed them in. So anyway, this has basically been a, I don't know what time it is, probably 7-hour day. But anyway, that's the CB400, and hope you enjoyed watching. See you on the next one.